All right. Hi, everyone. This is a little delayed, but I'm going to try and do this live stream for you. It's the first time I've ever done this, so bear with me if I make any silly mistakes or do anything wrong. Anyway, my name's Rhett, kind of a computer nerd. I work for the church, and I work on their website as a front-end developer. But I've done lots of stuff with computers besides actually programming. I've built them, I've tinkered with them, I've toyed with them, both software and hardware. More software than hardware, but hey. Anyway, so I thought I'd start up this little computer lesson thingy and show you guys some stuff about how computers work. And if you want to know anything in particular, go ahead and leave comments. Start just write in the chat or whatever functionality YouTube has given us. I'm sorry if there's quality issues with the video. This is for my first time doing this. Again, bear with me. So anyway, what we're going to talk about today is the file system. Okay? Now, I mostly use Macs, but that does not mean that Macs are the only thing in the world. So, we're going to talk about both Mac and Windows. I have I have my computer set up. It's got both the Mac here, and I've got a Windows virtual machine running, so that way I can show you guys how the file system works in Windows as well. Because there are subtle differences. They're not huge differences. But let's just start with this. Everything on your computer is on a hard drive. And that may be a big hard drive, small hard drive, maybe solid state, and maybe it's a spinning disk. Heck, maybe it's a flash drive. Whatever you have. But every single computer has a hard drive with data on it. Now, this hard drive can be partitioned and set up in different ways, but that's not what we're going to talk about today. Well, if you want to know more about that, let me know. But what we're going to talk about today is what goes on that hard drive and how you're going to use it. Okay? So, first off, the difference between a file and a folder. I don't know how many of you know your computer stuff, but there are two things. There's a file and there is a folder. Okay? I'll open up the little text editor here and I'll just save it onto the desktop. Alright. So I'm just going to write up this cool little thing. I'm thinking about some notes and write some stuff down. Notes, hello, blah, blah. Doesn't really matter what goes in it. Okay, but when I want to save it, I usually save it onto the file system. Okay, so I go to save it, and it gives me a location of places that I can save it. Okay, so I'm not going to go into detail yet, but basically what I'm trying to do is create a file so that way you guys can see the difference between a file and a folder. Okay, so I'm going to save this on my desktop. Okay, and as you can see right here, if you can see it, make fonts. All right, so my trusty assistant is telling me that things are too fuzzy, so I'm going to make it bigger for you. Give me 1 second to see if I can do a trick here. Now, forgive the delay. I'm trying to figure out something so I can show you guys stuff. Accessibility, where are you? There you are. Okay. So now let's see if this looks a little better for you. The problem with this is I can't see this. Okay. Again, forgive me for the delay. Let's here, I'm going to shrink the resolution on this iMac display. Okay, hopefully that's big enough for you so you can see what's going on. With a little bigger resolution. Not sure how that looks. Oh, lovely. Hold on. Again, this is all brand new to me. There we go. How about that? Hopefully that's a little better. Okay. So, I made this file, okay? And I saved it right here on my desktop. This is a file. It is a piece of data on your hard drive, okay? Contained into a little thing that we call a file, okay? Remember that. It's a file. Good. It's better. Anyway, so what we're going to do now is show you what a folder is. Now, on most computers, you can just right-click on the desktop or in the Finder or Explorer. I'll talk about that in a second as well. And just click New Folder. A folder contains files, okay? So if I open up this new folder I just made, it's empty. There's nothing in here. Let's say I wanted to put my text file in a folder just to keep things organized. I can drop it right there, and now the file's inside the folder. Now folders can also go inside of folders. And you can put folders and folders and folders and folders, and you end up with what's called a directory tree. Because you have all these folders, or directories is another word for them, all in this big tree of paths leading down to wherever your files are. Because in the end, you want to get to your files. You don't really care about the containers, you care about the files. All right. So that's the basic gist. So on Windows, if I show you the same stuff, nice thing is it copies my desktop, so I can just show you what I was doing. So here we go. I've got my file here, and I've got my folder. Okay, and like I said, you can just right-click and go to New Folder. Some cool name. And drag your text file right in there. Just like before, now if I open this up, boom, text file, it's inside. But it's not inside this old folder anymore because I took it out. Okay? Now, I'll talk to you a little bit about the tree for a minute and what the tree is, the directory tree. So on your computer, there is a list of, let's close this guy. There's a path, okay? So every single file on your computer has a path. And actually, I'm going to bring that up so I can show you what a path is. Okay, so a path looks like this. C:/user/red/desktop/ some cool folder / text file .rtf. Okay? Now this is a Windows path. You can tell because it has the C:/ at the beginning. On the Mac, the slashes, you just start with the slash. You don't have a drive loader at the beginning. If you want to know more about that, just let me know. So, for Macintosh computers, you start at the root, is what it's called. And it's the same with Windows, but this is what the root looks like. It's just this one / right here. Okay? So, if I go to the root of my computer right now, so I just type in, I'm going to go here. Okay, this is the root of my computer. Inside these few folders here are all the files on my computer. Everything is inside of this. Okay? Now, most computers, in fact almost all of them, it would be weird if they didn't, have a folder that's called users or my documents or home if you're on a Linux system. I'm not going to talk about that. Anyway, they have a users directory. If I go on to Windows, I do the same thing. I go to my root here. See, C:// it's right at the root. They also have a users folder. If I go in that, there's a rep folder. Every single user on your computer will have their own home folder. They're called home folders. As you can see on the Mac, there's a little house depicting the fact that it's a home folder. Now, every user, more or less, has the same stuff on the inside. I've got a couple of extra things in here because I do stuff on this computer. But if I go over here, and I can show you what's in this as well. Okay? So most of us, I'll do this, will have a desktop documents, downloads, maybe music, movies, pictures, kind of a way to organize your media. All right. It's a good thing I have a wonderful person telling me things of what is right and what is wrong. Okay. So the root of your computer, both on the Mac and we'll start on the Mac just because I'm here. What you want to do to get to the root, you go to Go, up at the top, go to Computer, and then this is kind of messy. Most of the time on the Mac, your root is going to be inside Macintosh HD. That's what it's normally called. I have a bunch of extra stuff hooked up, and that's why you see all this. But you go inside Macintosh HD. Okay? And then you can see this is the root of the drive. Likewise in Windows, if you want to get to the root of the computer, well, that's probably something else I should talk about. This is what these are. Okay, so we're going to click on this Windows Explorer icon down here. You can also open any of these folders, and it will do the same thing. And click on Computer, and it will show you, all the disks that you have. I've got a lot of extra stuff, but C drive is always the root of your computer. You may have extra drives on there, but C drive is always the root. See if I go in that, there's the thing. So on Mac, we go to the Go menu in Finder. So, and this is something I need to talk about as well, and I'll tell you what it is in just a second. But you go to the Go menu, you go to Computer, okay? And in Windows, you click on Windows Explorer or any of these little folders here, and then you can go to Computer in the side, and then to Local Disk, or C. You'll see the C colon in it, okay? Now let me tell you about Finder and Explorer. There are two, okay, so what it is that Finder and Explorer are ways to browse your file system, okay? Finder finds your files. Explorer explores your hard drive looking for files. That's the idea behind the naming. And Finder is this clever little guy. And I'm going to zoom in on just to show you what it looks like. So you can see that little smiley guy there. And then Explorer looks like this. It's kind of cut off there. I can't really just go down. Good to know that you can do it that way too. Another way to get to root is Start, and then you can also go to Computer. It's a good thing my wife is giving me pointers as we do this. She's a good wife. Anyway, so the Finder and the Explorer are the ways to get to files on your computer. Now, most of the programs on your computer will have an open window. You can go to File, Open, and then it will open an Explorer or a Finder window to find the files that you need. But they're essentially the same kind of program. They get you where you need to go on the computer. Okay? Now, after all of those tangents, let's come back to these paths here. We started talking about the root, and then I kind of got off tangents because I was assuming people knew things that they didn't know. So, again, going back to this. So on Windows, the root of your computer is C:/. All right? Just like you saw here, C: is right here. I mean, like, you can see that it has a C: in it. That's C:. If I were to go, if you want to see the path of wherever you are inside of Explorer, you can just click on this little bar up here, and this is your path. It'll be text that you can edit, so you can change where you want to go if you want to. But there's the root, just like that. And on the Mac, it's a little different. If you want to see, or if you just hold it, no. If you hold down Command and you click on the title, it will show you the full path all the way down, but it's not one you can edit. If you want to be able to edit where you're going, you can go to the Go menu and go to Folder. The nice thing about Macs is they also write this little shortcut. Actually, I think Windows does it too, but they put these little shortcuts on here so you don't have to go to these menus if you don't want to. It's Shift-Command-G if you want to just bring this up, but you can also go to the menu. And then you can type in where you want to go. I just want to go to the root. So I hit Enter. This is the root. That doesn't really make sense, but like if I were to go to a different folder and hit the same thing, boom, takes me to the root. Okay. Now, so like I said, there's a path on your computer, and what you do is you separate each folder in the path with a slash. So if we go back to my little text file example, okay, let's see if this will work. Copy text file. And don't worry too much about how I didn't do what I thought I was going to do. Okay, so to get to my little file, I would have to make this path to get there. Users, ret, desktop, slash, what was it, some cool name. Some cool name. And then I put in my file, text file.rtf. Okay? In Windows, it would be very similar, except for the slashes go the opposite direction because that's what Windows chose to do. But you go to users slash ret slash desktop slash some cool name slash text file.rtf. Okay? So each of these words or phrases in between the slashes are autocorrect on my name, are folders. So basically I'm saying go to the root folder here, and then inside the root folder go inside the users folder. And then inside the users folder go inside ret's folder. Then inside ret's folder go inside the desktop folder. Then go inside the some cool name folder, so on and so forth until, oh hey look, this is my file. And you can tell it's a file because it has this extension on it. Now there can be folders that have extensions on it, but generally it's just file names that have extensions on them. Just files themselves, not folders. Okay? And I'll talk about extensions in a minute. And in Macs it's the same thing. They're just separated with different slashes. Okay? And so like, and as you can notice as well, this desktop here is, now there's a lot I wanted to cover, and I just realized I'm not going to be able to cover all of this. I also realized that I'm cutting my head off. Hi, everyone. All right, so this desktop here, like I was saying, is a folder. You see all these files here. You know, I got my folders and my files, and it could get cluttered with extra stuff. I have this cleanup folder of all this stuff that I hid from you before I did this because it's such a messy desktop I have. But, you know, it's just a folder. This desktop is just a folder on your hard drive. Just like any other folder. It's just a folder. Okay? Yeah, more or less. So one other thing I want to talk about with the home directory before we move on to the next thing I want to talk about before we run out of time is the different folders inside your home directory. One of the biggest ones is this downloads folder. Okay? Let's see what he's saying. And just so you know, I was just showing you what it looked like. You guys don't need to type out this path to make it work. I mean, this is just like, it's more the conceptual thing. If you were using a terminal or a command prompt, you can type this out to go there, but you don't have to. That's more advanced stuff. Let's not talk about that. This is more just to conceptualize and show you this is what this means. Okay. Now, back to what I was saying about downloads. So we got downloads here. Okay. The downloads, usually by default, most browsers, for example, if I pick Safari here, ooh, that's pretty big. Hello, everyone. Safari. If I go to Safari and I look at my preferences, don't look at my passwords. Where are we? I think it's under general. Advanced. Sorry, I gotta remember where it is. Oh, here it is. File download location. By default, it goes to the downloads folder. Most browsers will do the same thing. Okay? So your web browser, for the most part, if you download a file, it's going to end up in the downloads folder. Okay? And you can get to that because usually you'll have downloads here on the side, or you'll have it some sort of shortcut on your desktop that leads to downloads. Or like I said, you could also go to the root, go down to the thing. That's a more complicated way of doing it. You could also, at least on the Mac, you can go to home right here and say, hey, look, here's my downloads folder, and I can go inside of that. On Windows, it's very similar. So you can see that I have some favorites here. There's desktop, then there's downloads. Okay? So just like anything else, you can just open up a new window here and go there. I think it's not here, but if you want to get to your home directory on Windows, you just go to the Start menu and click on your name here. And that name will open up your home directory, and from there, there's two of them, but that's because I'm doing this weird virtual desktop thing. But you can go inside Downloads and see where your downloads are. You should only have one of these, so ignore that. Sorry about the confusion. Okay. So that's just, to clarify some of the stuff with that. Now, finally, let's talk about, let's see, where was I? File types, okay? So every single file usually has an extension on it, okay? As you can see here, this is the file name, right? And then this is the extension on the file name, the RTF, okay? And just so you know, RTF stands for Rich Text Format. Rich Text Format. Okay? There are lots of different file types out there. Not all of them are 3 characters, but most of them are. But you'll see things like .html, or .txt, or .jpeg, or .png. Now, these are all different files, and you can tell I'm a web guy because these are all the things I'd use on a website. But there you go. You don't really need to know what all these extensions mean. These extensions are really just written on the end of your file names, so that way the operating system knows what program to open that file in. Okay? Because, for example, if I just had this rich text file that I have right here, by default my Mac doesn't show the extensions. You may not even have to worry about this, because the extensions are not... they try to abstract away the extensions. So if you want me to talk more about extensions, I will. But just know that the extensions kind of tell the operating system what kind of file this is. Because files are different types. There's lots of different types of files out there. You've got pictures, you've got Word documents, you've got all different kinds of word processing documents. You've got coding files, you've got music files, you've got video files. There's lots of different types of files. Okay? I'm not sure how much more I can go into that without getting too complicated and difficult. So if you have questions about that, just ask me. Yeah. I mean, I have some other stuff down there, but I realize it's kind of complicated things, and I'm not sure how complicated we all want to go. I can see we have a few people out there watching this. I'm not sure how many there are, but I'm glad that you're here watching this. So, yeah, I'm just going to end this now, but I want you guys, if you want to know more about the computer, I'm more than happy to do these things. And really, this first video was just me kind of making this happen. So subscribe to my channel, because then you get notifications to saying when I'm doing another one of these. I'll try to do these live things because I like getting immediate feedback, even though I didn't get much from you all today. There's only about 3 or 4 of you, which is fine. I'm grateful that anybody's watching. But yeah, if you want to know more, make comments on this video. If the quality is terrible on this video, I have a better quality version that I've been recording, so I'll upload that. Otherwise, yeah, leave some comments, and I'll get back to you guys next week or something. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.